Welcome to Be Who They Come To, where healing meets humor and spirit meets story. Oriana and Kelly are two friends who've stumbled, laughed, cried, and somehow found their way back to source. This podcast is a space to share the messy, magical journey of recovery, healing, and rediscovering themselves, and ideally, helping you do the same, with plenty of laughter along the way, because sometimes the best medicine really is a mix of soul work and a good sense of humor. And now, Be Who They Come To.
Hey, Kel.
Heyo, how are you doing?
I'm all right. Kind of a bit gloomy today, actually, if I'm being honest. It's been raining for a couple days, and that kind of really hits you, you know?
Yeah, I love fall. Like fall is my favorite season, but transitioning into
Yep.
it's kind of it takes a minute to kind of
Yeah.
recalibrate your system.
For me, I right away miss summertime. Right away, like the other day, day before was the first day of fall, and
Mhm.
right away I'm like, oh no, I'm panicking already. I'm like, oh no, summer's gone. My time to be on the water and hiking is limited, you know? So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I love the smell of fall. I love
Really?
it. Yeah.
I love the smell of
I
spring. Melting dog shit, my favorite.
Yes, and cow manure and all sorts
Yeah,
of stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
It's
amazing.
that's where I'm at. That's my jam. That's my jam.
You like the smell of shit,
Well, just dog shit. Just this melting
just
melting dog. 'Cause
specifically.
it's like a combination of dirty snow and, like, all the poop that
Mhm.
nobody picked up during the wintertime, you know?
Yeah, it kind of sounds like moonshine. I think that's
Yeah,
the ingredients of moonshine, actually.
yeah, dog shit, dirty snow, yeah.
A little bit of
Potatoes,
turpentine, maybe, or
right?
something. I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
but
Potato champagne is where it's at.
apparently. But no, I
Yeah.
love fall and then winter. I I don't like winter anymore. I used to when I used to ski,
No.
but my knees won't let me ski anymore. So,
Yeah, I tried hard to like winter too, like learning to
mhm.
snowboard and I was like, "Yeah," I tried, had some bloody knees for, after a few sessions and I'm like, I don't maybe this isn't my thing, but I snowshoe
Yeah,
and I still hike in the winter too, but it's not as
good.
frequent, right? And it's got to be a nice sunny day and usually sunny days are
Hmm.
icy in the winter, like they're deceiving, right? When
Right.
you look outside. And yeah, so I'm struggling, but I'm forcing myself. I'm pushing myself to do it. You have to. You have to.
No,
I used to just sit
my
inside all
exercise.
winter, right?
Yeah, I shovel.
Oh god, don't get me started on shoveling. The
I have
snow,
like the
ew,
longest
yuck,
walkway.
yuck. My
It's
snowblower broke a couple years ago, and my back pays the
mhm.
price for it. Yeah.
Oh, you're fancy. I shovel.
Yeah.
I find it though, like when I get in the rhythm of it though, it's kind of therapeutic a little bit.
Well, it depends on the day. Like those days where like the snow
Yeah,
is kind of heavy and wet is the days that it's
yeah,
more mild out, right? But then, yeah,
right.
it's hard to shovel. But yeah,
Well,
ugh, yuck.
we're supposed to have a mild winter, so let's see what that looks like.
So they
And
say,
hopefully
quote unquote, they say
they
that.
say
They
the
say.
people in the clouds are
Who's these days, you know?
the people who make the chemtrails and shit. I think
Yeah,
it's them.
for sure. 100%. They
Uh,
yeah,
assholes.
yeah, right? Right? Hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so today's episode, we're
Yep.
calling it Becoming Whole. It's about recovery and the different types of recovery. Um, what did we figure out they were, Cal, the different types?
Well, I think we wanted to do a more generalized recovery,
Yeah.
and in next episodes maybe we'll hone in on specific. Um, but so the breakdown of recoveries is well physical, and that
Mhm.
includes illness, injury, fatigue,
Yep. Yep.
emotional, heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment,
Mhm. Mhm.
mental, burnout, depression, and anxiety.
Stress, yep.
And yeah, mental is real, and I think people don't understand burnout is real.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
and we
You can
just
only handle
assume,
so much.
working kids, taking care of a household. I mean, I think you and I both just do it because that's what we do.
Yeah,
But when sometimes people look at me and they'll be like, "Oh my goodness, like you do this, that, this," I'm like, "Well, that's what I'm supposed to do." Like,
that's what
I
needs to get done. Like, you don't
I didn't
often have a
think it was an
choice.
option,
That's it.
but I guess it is an option for some.
Well, some
So,
people can afford to take a break from that,
mhm,
right? Whether they have the support, somebody who can watch the kids so you can go do something, or,
mhm,
a partner or somebody you're co-parenting with even,
yeah.
right? I think kids is a big one, right, when it comes to that. You need a break from your kids. You just do.
They need a break from us too, though, I
100%.
think.
Yeah, 100%.
Because like this weekend, I tried my best to be like, hey, let's bake and let's go for walks. And
Yeah.
they're like, okay, mom. And I'm like, I'm not the cool mom anymore. So I think that's just letting me know, though, that they maybe need a break and be like, so it's kind of weird. And then we have spiritual, losing faith and questioning purpose. I know
Yeah.
I've went through that a couple of times.
Oh, boy.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and again,
Sky
questioning
Daddy has,
purpose.
felt like he's let me down sometimes, right? He never does, but,
Hmm.
yeah, sometimes you're just like, why?" And you don't know why, and
Hmm.
that answer doesn't come till later, but I
Well,
think
and
that all
sometimes
falls into recovery, right?
yeah, and I think sometimes we feel we lose our purpose. Like,
Yeah.
we have older children that have left the nest,
Yep.
and we still have kids at home, but as so sometimes changes in your life will be like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
What's
Yep.
my purpose outside of being a mom, a daughter, an office coordinator, a friend, a neighbor,
Mhm.
and I,
Mhm.
and I think sometimes we maybe struggle with our own individual purpose.
Yep. Yep. And I think too with, like, milestones in life and major changes in life, it can trigger new stages of recovery. But recovery and healing to me are interchangeable words, right?
Hmm.
Like, you have to heal from, a physical, trauma, mental
Hmm.
illness. There's healing involved, spirituality, there's healing. So to
Yeah,
me, they're interchangeable. And I find when I use the word
right.
healing, it's more gentle. Recovery, I associate it, and we're going to touch on that, with addiction, and
Hmm.
then there follows recovery, right? And essentially healing at the same time. But yeah, I like the word healing, you know,
Hmm.
and we talked about that a little bit,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, you need, from different milestones in your life, different events that happen. There's different stages, different types of healing and recovery. Yeah.
Well, and the last one is relational, and that covers breakups, friendships ending,
Yeah.
old family wounds, new family wounds.
Yep.
Uh, the the relational ones I think are like ongoing.
Oh, yeah, always, always your relationship with your parents, your partner,
Hmm.
siblings, friends,
Yeah.
right? Those are all different types of relationships that,
Yeah.
often require work.
Right. Well, and
Yeah.
I think we think if we get up and do it every day and we just become robots, like we think that repetition, did I say that word right?
Yes,
Um,
repetition.
repetition,
Yep.
um, is restoration, and that's not at all
No.
what it is.
No, no.
Restoration is giving yourself a break and restoring your body and your soul and your mind. You can
Yes.
repeat something over and over again, and that could be also insanity. But I think,
Yeah, the definition of insanity.
but restoration there's a rest in the word. You need
Exactly.
to rest.
That's why I like the word forest too, for rest.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Or even depression, right? Decompress.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Jim Carrey said that.
Ooh,
I
yeah,
think.
he's said some pretty good stuff, eh? Like I've watched a few of his things, and he's smart in very certain ways. Yeah.
Yeah, he's different, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, somebody coming from having lived in his car,
Yeah.
right? So, he knows.
Yeah, no,
He
he
knows.
absolutely does.
I think there's
And
some, celebrities or higher ups or whatever you wanna call them that they don't forget where they came from, you know?
no, or they're
Another one is
reminded.
Jewel. Yeah, Jewel,
Hmm.
same, the singer.
Yeah.
She lived in her car too.
Yeah. Yeah, and,
You know?
and it's amazing and where they've come from, and they were really big and famous, and then they're like, "Ooh, this is not good for my soul, so I'm gonna find a happy
Yep,
medium."
that's right.
And maybe that's in our lives too, is finding a happy medium.
Yeah.
So maybe recovery doesn't have to be there, right? And you concentrate on healing and moving forward.
Yeah.
And I would like the viewers maybe to, take a couple of minutes and maybe review where they may need a bit of recovery, you
Well, and
know?
it's not always recognizable immediately, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think I think it becomes a little more obvious where you're like, "Wow, I need to work on that," is triggers,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? We seem
Yep.
to touch on those in every episode too, but they apply to so many things.
Yeah.
And when you're triggered by something, you're like, "Whoa, I obviously have not dealt with that."
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yep.
more healing that needs to happen there. There's more recovery that needs to happen there,
No,
you
I
know?
think that's the awareness stage.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. And it's the recognition and
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and I think too when you realize when you need healing or recovery, it's because you're maybe trapped in cycles or
Mm-hmm.
you've developed
Absolutely.
a numbness to things,
Yep.
like it's lost joy, something that
Mm-hmm.
you regularly
Absolutely.
do that brings you happiness. All of a sudden you're like, no, I'm not into this, right? Or heightened
Mm-hmm.
sensitivity, right? All of a
Yep.
sudden
Oh,
you're
absolutely.
hyper vigilant, you're paying closer attention to things that maybe didn't bother you so much before. And you're like, wait a
Mm-hmm.
minute. Again, there's a trigger, something I
Mm-hmm.
need to deal with, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's trauma based too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Triggers are from trauma
But they can be
usually.
the smallest thing too, right? Like what traumatized you may not have traumatized me, for
That's right.
example,
Yeah.
right? You may be
Yeah.
telling me a story and be like, "What's the big deal?" Like,
Right.
I don't get it, like,
Hmm.
you and I understand each other significantly, but, with other people, someone you might be like, "Well, they said it in this tone, or they used this specific
Hmm.
word," and it just
Yeah.
whoosh, like, takes you right back, and you feel it in your body head to toe, the blood drains from you, it's a punch in the stomach, whatever, and then you're like, I need to address that. Right
Hmm.
back to the responsibility, accountability thing too, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's the awareness, because if
Yep,
something keeps on surfacing
yep.
and it impacts you mentally, physically, or whatever, it's something that you haven't recovered from. It's
No,
really that simple.
exactly, exactly.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then there's all the steps that you need to take, and that can be overwhelming, right? When you
Absolutely.
finally decide to, let's say, address a childhood wound, you know,
Hmm.
you're like, "Okay, where do I begin? What do I do?" And
Hmm.
then there's talking to people, whether it's a professional or a friend or family member, whatever.
Hmm.
It's they can sometimes help you kind of decode, like sometimes, like I know, like for example, I'll get overwhelmed with something
Hmm.
and I'll call you and I'll be like, Cal, like help me break this down. You're like, okay,
Right.
this start here, start with this,
Yeah.
and like baby steps, like even
Declutter.
that's it. Like, but a to-do list, for example,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes you'll
Yeah.
write it out. You're like, Jesus, like where do I begin with this?
Well,
Um,
and that starts with stabilization.
yep,
Anchor
yep,
yourself.
yep,
Small steps,
yep.
being around safe people, eating well.
Yep.
Um,
Knowing who your people are
that's
too, like people who
yeah.
you can talk to about things and who you can't talk to about things,
Hmm.
create a safe space around yourself.
Yeah, it's that stabilization to be like, okay, I'm gonna open myself to all sorts of feelings and vulnerabilities. So I need a safe place to do that. So it's stabilizing that either mental state or environment, and creating a safe space where you can learn to kind of rest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and breathe and ground yourself. I think um, learning to ground yourself is, a lot of people don't even know what that word means.
Yeah.
What do you mean grounding? What are you talking about, right? But
Go to your
it's
room.
that's right. I know, right? Like you're in
Actually,
trouble.
now it's like, sure,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going. See you later.
my
Bye.
my my room is where I want to be. Exactly. Bye, kids.
Yeah.
Close the door. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
What's
know.
one of your what's one of your grounding techniques? So,
Uh, breath work, I think in
mm-hmm,
certain like moments of where I'm vibing high, and I can't seem to
mm-hmm,
regroup, breathing.
mm-hmm,
But if
mm-hmm,
it's something a little more intentional and not in moments of chaos or anxiety, it's definitely
mm-hmm.
being outdoors. I'll
Yeah.
take off my shoes and socks, walk in the grass. I will
Yeah.
hug a tree.
Yeah.
You know, I will go out on the water. I'll put my hands in the water, like,
Mhm.
but things like even splashing cold water on your face for a minute, just
Yeah.
like water is very healing, having a
Yeah, I
bath,
that's
you
what
know,
like to help regulate. Sometimes I'll
that's
just go
it.
and soak. I'm
Yep.
another one. I love to put my feet in the grass.
Yep.
And it looks weird sometimes, but
Yeah.
it really helps. Or sometimes just going into a quiet room and just um letting it out,
Yeah.
crying, screaming, doing what
Mhm.
you got to do to kind of just, because grounding, before you ground yourself, you have to let it go, because then there's no
Yes.
grounding yourself, because you're flying high and your anxiety and
Yep.
all sorts of triggers are happening and that's manifesting. So it's really, grounding is super important, and
It
whatever
is.
that is for somebody.
It is. And a
Uh,
lot of people don't know what it is, don't know how to do it, don't know where to begin, and you
Well, you
have
have
to,
to release it. You have to, and kind
yeah.
of look at what no longer serves you. The
Hmm.
toxic relationships,
Yep.
the outdated narratives and self-blame. Ciao,
Yep.
bye.
Yeah. No. And
Hmm.
yeah, a lot of self-blame, I think, goes
Hmm.
around before you can have the awareness that maybe you need to
Hmm.
make changes,
Yeah.
or sometimes when you have the awareness, then you begin to self-blame too, or it's
Hmm.
like, well, this is my fault. I'm here because I did this, or I haven't done that, and that's why.
Hmm.
But you have
Hmm.
to be graceful with yourself, and you have to let go. It's like you said,
Hmm.
you have to release that
Yeah.
in order for
Releasing is the big one.
it to begin, right? You have to come to terms with things.
And sometimes, some of the steps are interchangeable, right? You can go to the release and then, oh, darn, I've released some stuff, so I have to go back to stabilization, right?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's it's kind of, and because the next step is rebuild. But sometimes when you're rebuilding, you have to go back to release or stabilization. So it's kind of, nothing is 1, 2, 3, 4. Like sometimes you may go to three and then you may have to go back to one.
Yep.
And so they're
Yep.
interchangeable depending on what you're going through.
Yeah, and I think part of rebuilding too is that's when you're looking into maybe therapy,
Hmm.
talk therapy.
Therapy is a big one. Yeah.
Um, you know, Creating a safe space around yourself again, like a community, like your
Hmm.
friends, your
Well, like
people.
church, like our
Yep.
church.
Like when we go to church, exactly. Like, and it's funny because we call it church, but
It's
it's
so,
it's it's not church. It's actually called Ottawa Interfaith Spiritualist Church, in case anybody's interested. But it's more, there's speakers, there's mediums, there's
yeah.
healers, there's psychics, there's shaman, and actually a really cool place. We dragged a few people in on Sunday, and
Hmm.
they thought it was pretty cool. So it's not your standard read the Bible, feel guilty about your sins, pray. It's spiritual. It's a reconnecting with yourself,
Hmm.
and
And a
uh
higher power, whatever that, and they're
yeah,
very clear on that. A
very,
higher power. So
yeah,
it's whatever that may be.
yeah, source,
Oh,
spirit, guide, um
angels,
you
you name
know
it.
God, right? Like I will often say God or
Yeah.
source.
Yeah.
To me, they're interchangeable words, but like they're and
Mm-hmm.
various even religion falls into the category too, just believing in a higher power,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there's
Yeah.
no dogma or creed, with our
Nope.
quote unquote church, you know.
Yeah. No, they're amazing group of people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know they've personally given me so much, so much to think
Oh yeah.
about, and their
Yep.
kindness and compassion and generosity. And that's
Yep.
where really you rebuild,
That's
because
it.
with rebuilding, you have to build boundaries. And there's
Yep.
some people that you either have to create strong boundaries, or the boundary may be, this is not a bad person per se, but they're not good for me.
No,
And
exactly.
that's really hard to manage.
Or a
Um,
habit even, like
yeah.
this is something I do every day. We'll
Hmm.
call it sugar addiction, you know,
Right.
and then it's
Yeah.
it's not good for me. But where do I begin? How do I make this change
Hmm.
to to quit that? Drugs
Hmm.
also, right? Same deal. Alcohol,
Yeah.
same deal. Where do I
Food.
begin? Yeah,
Food
food.
is a biggie.
Yep,
Yeah.
huge. A lot of people turn to
Alcohol,
food.
drugs. Yeah.
Yep, yep. People
And
look
then with,
externally, right?
yeah, I think we all kind of do. It's just, who do we share our energy with?
Yep.
That's part of recovery where, if you're trying to get out of a toxic situation, you're not going to go and hang out with a bunch of toxic people.
No, no,
So
exactly. Well, you
it's,
have to remove yourself sometimes too.
hmm,
Whether that's again back to the drugs, the people
hmm,
that you use with, or
yes.
the people you purchase your drugs from.
Yep.
But or if it's a breakup,
Hmm.
with a friend, you had a falling out and you need
Yeah.
to step back. Sometimes that means stepping back from other friends as well.
Yep. Yeah. And it can be
Relationships.
very difficult. Yeah.
You know,
No, and
so-
exactly. But I'm a firm believer, and I know it might sound a little bit formaggio, but for every door that closes, a new one opens. So it's just allowing that new door to open. That's what I struggle with. I don't, I really hold on to the
yeah,
people near and dear to me, so I have a hard time shutting that door
me
because
too.
of maybe
Me too.
abandonment or whatever. So I hold on to that. And sometimes it's not them that's toxic, it's I'm not good for them,
Yeah,
right?
that happens
Or
too when you can
whatever,
recognize that for
because of
sure.
my codependency things, like helping people too much and
Yep.
always like taking that caretaking role may not
Yep.
be serving them, and it's certainly not serving me. So
Well, there's times
sometimes
where you
it's,
have to, yeah, come to terms with, like I'm not helping. I'm not
nope.
helping. I can't help. I'm not the one to help, or it's not enough, or it's too much, or the way I'm helping isn't working for that person. Sometimes as desperately as you want to make a difference,
Hmm.
that person's just not ready. They're not ready for recovery or
Hmm.
healing,
Hmm.
so to speak.
And
Right?
then you just turn into enabling.
Yep. Exactly.
So there's a very fine line with, especially in recovery,
Yep.
enabling, we don't mean to, because in our minds we're being supportive, we're allowing that person to be who they are. But if you're enabling toxic behaviors, you got to kind of take a look and be like, okay, I'm maybe not good for them right now, and maybe we can revisit that relationship when they've done their recovery and I've done my recovery. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
Well, and there's time, there's hope that that can change, right? That those relationships can be mended. And
Hmm.
there's plenty of times where, you extend an olive branch and your hand is slapped or bit.
Yep.
Again, you extend an olive branch and same deal, but and you'll only,
Hmm.
I know for myself, I've learned to only do that so many times.
Yep.
And then it's about self-preservation, right?
Hmm.
And then sometimes
Well,
maybe
and
you have to
that's,
sever that relationship and then you have your own healing to do, right?
well, as we grow, and if people don't grow or they grow in other directions, sometimes we just outgrow people. And it's not a bad thing. It's just you're meant to go on two different paths. And
Yeah.
that's really what I start to, when I'm afraid of losing somebody or vice versa, I
Yeah.
was like, well, maybe this is the end of our journey.
Well, I think
And
like
so it
for
helps.
me, I've had a lot of loss in my
Hmm.
life,
Me too. Yeah.
and I struggle with that because that loss may have come from uh, not having my needs met, for example, and
Hmm.
there's abandonment wounds there,
Hmm.
and you hang on and you try, and you know you're grasping at straws sometimes,
Hmm.
and it's like you said, it's toxic, right?
Yeah.
And you have to remove yourself. Sometimes as much as it hurts, you gotta remove yourself, and it's just not good for you, and
And
sometimes you can rebuild it, but
sometimes the loss is unintentional. Like with my
yep,
brother's death. He didn't
yep,
mean to die and he
no,
fought, but
yep.
losing him, that grief, it's a profound grief and you don't know where to put it.
No, well, and that's all that grief is love with nowhere to go.
That's exactly it. So
It's
there's,
what you have, this love inside of you that you gave, so willingly and freely to somebody, and then where do you put
yeah,
it? You put it into
yeah,
yourself? Okay, sure, but what does that look like? Right?
right.
Does that look like, like I'm gonna have a bath and,
Hmm.
soak and like you do to regulate, but,
Yeah.
like you try and find these ways to kind of fill that void where that person was. And it's like that podcast that I was telling you about too. It's you have to be okay with the void until the void is filled.
Hmm.
And is how do you fill that void,
And
right?
don't fill it with shit.
That's it. That's where recovery and healing come into play, right?
Yeah.
Don't if you're quitting smoking, don't turn to food.
Yeah.
You know,
Try not to.
well, that's it, right? And there's so many, people who conquer addiction, for
Hmm.
example. They become like heavy
Hmm.
coffee drinkers.
Yep.
Like there's you replace it. Like I know when I tried to quit smoking 17 years
Hmm.
ago, for a while I turned to like, baby carrots.
Hmm.
I could down a whole bag of baby carrots. And there's actually a lot of sugar in baby carrots, like so
Right.
they're not great for you. But you tend to try and find another outlet,
Hmm.
right? And I think creative outlets are good.
Yeah, there.
Like you have yours, I have mine, but
Hmm.
there's also, the healing type of outlets too. Like I turned outdoors, you
Hmm.
have music, you have your
Yep.
tarot. I like to be on
Yep.
the water. Like there's um there's better things that we can turn to, but sometimes you need a more positive environment around you, that community, like I said, that to create that safe space around you, right?
Well, that's the fourth step is reframing.
Yep. Yep.
It's instead of asking, why, what now?
Yeah.
Because asking why keeps you stuck
Yep.
in it.
Yep. Yep.
But
Yep.
so opening yourself up to, okay, there's something new that's
Yes.
going to happen. And so that's
Yes.
putting one foot in front of the other because sometimes we'll never know why. And
Yeah.
we can beat it to death and stuff like that, but sometimes we'll never know why somebody did something or we did something to somebody. And
Yeah.
so really it's what now?
Yeah.
Moving
Well,
forward.
there's that whole space between who you used to be
Hmm.
and who you're becoming, right?
Exactly.
And that's like myself, that's where I'm lost presently in my life. I'm lost in that space of
Right.
who I was no longer serves me. She served her purpose.
She
She
sure
she
did.
she played her role in
Hmm.
my life.
Hmm.
And now there's a whole, okay, well, that didn't work and that didn't work and that didn't work. So I need to replace it with this and this and this.
Hmm.
And, like I'm back at the gym, for example, but like I told you too, it feels empty,
Hmm.
right? I'm going through the motions, I'm lifting the weights, I'm doing that. And it just, I still feel dead inside,
Hmm.
like you just, there's that whole healing that's happening, and that takes time. And like I've told you too, like, when is this going to stop? Like
Yep.
I need a break from this. The pain is bad, it's heavy, nothing feels right, the joy is gone, right? And that's when you
Hmm.
know that there's still work to do.
Well, it's reframing.
Yep.
You have to reframe it, and sometimes the things that used to bring you joy, like
They won't anymore.
they
They
won't
might.
anymore. So
Yep.
it's you're evolving, you're moving forward, or
That's right.
revisiting, like I did with music. I played music since I was like 12.
Yep.
My Uncle Steve, thanks Uncle Steve, got me my first guitar.
Yep.
And I played that for quite some time, and then I kind of got in a big rut, and I put it down, and um and I was able to pick it up again. But that was for me revisiting something that I had let go of. Yeah.
Yeah. And, sometimes, like you talked about the why, we'll never know about the why, but
Mhm.
hopefully, and I know for myself that you're able to see the lessons in it
Mhm.
after. Like there's gifts
Yes,
in
absolutely.
healing and recovery. And
Mm.
I think with those gifts, you learn resilience as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
realize how strong you are. Like you're
yeah,
like, holy shit, I just went to war, and I
yeah,
may have a couple of scars, but I'm still standing.
yeah, exactly.
You
And
know,
and things
that's
become more clear, right? The fog lifts, and
Mhm.
then it's like, okay, well, that's why that happened, because this was supposed to happen, and then this
Mhm.
happened because that happened, and it just becomes like this whole. You see the steps later, right? It's what do they say? God gives you the test before he gives you the lesson,
Oh,
right?
jeez. Yeah.
Right? Isn't that a
Been
deep
there,
one?
done it. Got
Right?
the
Right?
t-shirt for
It's
that
like
one.
here's some shit that you're gonna go through. Here's some things that, you wrote into your life prior to your incarnation. And, like you and I laugh about that all the time. We were not in our right minds when we wrote our charts, and
No.
no, you plan these losses and these triumphs, but you learn more from loss than you do from triumph, right?
Yeah, because for me, I've had more loss.
Yep.
And maybe that's how I learn, is by
Yep.
losing.
Yep.
Um, I'm not always going to win that race, but I did the goddamn race. Sorry,
Yeah.
Lord. But,
Right.
and
Right.
so sometimes it's not about winning it. Sometimes it's about doing it.
Just doing it. Just doing it. I
And
know.
and giving yourself that
Well, you
rest to
gotta
be
you
like,
gotta
it's okay.
try. Without
Hmm.
failure, how's there gonna be progress?
Right.
You've gotta start somewhere, and there's that my whole saying too, that's maintain a white belt mentality.
Yep.
You've gotta, even if you've progressed, even if you've gotten to a certain point in your life, the work's never done.
No.
You're never quote unquote healed. What does that mean, really?
Hmm.
Healed. The work is never ending. You're an endless project, because you can always do better in some area of your life.
Evolve.
There's always
Evolve.
improvement that can be done
Mm.
somewhere, right?
And that's where compassion comes in.
Yes.
There was times in my life where I probably wasn't the most compassionate person, and maybe it was because I was dealing with my own stuff. So it was hard to, and there's times of judgment, and I'm not proud of it, but and
Do you
so
mean judging others or judging yourself?
yeah, and judging myself, but
Yeah,
um just being, because I think when you start being softer with yourself, you become softer with the people around you.
100%. I know that with me, the loss that I've encountered in my life has made
Hmm.
me an extremely empathetic person,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
there's very little, if any, judgment towards others.
Hmm.
I can very quickly relate, and, having been through so much, right? You can very
Hmm.
quickly relate to somebody, and I know myself, I'm taken right back to that moment
Hmm.
of where I might have felt what they're feeling, you know? And, I'll cry with people, like you you take that on, in the sense
Hmm.
that, like, oh my god, like, this person needs empathy and
Hmm.
compassion, right? And sympathy. And,
Hmm. Yeah, and I think through the compassion is as you learn about clarity, what really matters, right?
yep,
You have to
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because what mattered 5 years ago, honestly, in my life, I could give a flying, hmm,
Fuck. Yeah. Yeah.
it's like I said specifically after my brother died, that I don't want to say his death humbled me, but it definitely gave me a different perspective on, if you had 3 months to live, would that matter? Because that's all Jay had was
Right.
3 months, and he
Yep.
was so sick.
Yep.
Um,
Would you want to
and
know? Would you want to know when you're going to die?
no, no,
You wouldn't. So you'd
I
rather
don't think so.
live your life day to day the way you presently do and just go about your business instead of knowing?
Yeah,
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 right.
because I think I would be so I'm an anxious person. I think I'd be like, am I doing this? Is this right? Like, oh my
Right?
goodness,
Or am
I'm
I
not
doing enough?
dying properly. Like,
Yeah, right?
so,
I know.
I don't think I'd want to know.
Yeah, I
No.
don't know. I've thought
And
about that, and there's a big part of me that would want to know because I'm not a materialistic person, but
mhm,
I would give everything away. I would sell it, I would give it away, I would leave, I would take my kids with me, but I would leave. I would get the fuck out of Dodge, and I would live differently. I really would. And
mhm.
I think with, you know, reasons why you don't maybe live differently presently is because you think you have time,
Well, and that's
right?
the biggest thing. And when I sit in shit too long, I get frustrated with myself,
Mhm.
because life, and then this is where I'm gonna get kind of cheesy. I mean, it's a privilege.
Oh,
Getting
100%.
old is a privilege. And
100%.
so with Jay's death, I don't do it perfectly right now, but and I think Janis Joplin said it too. Now I'm quoting Janis Joplin, but
Nice.
live the last day. How does it go? I really got to write these quotes down. Um, live every day like it was your last.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's hard when you're in the thick of something.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, when you're in the thick of something too, like,
Hmm.
I get a lot of advice too right now, and that's, like, think positively and, look at the bright side of things, and, these are good things that are happening in your life, and you're like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, but I can't put one foot in front of the other."
Hmm.
So live like this was my last day. It's when depression comes into play, it's very
Hmm.
different, right? I think if you're healthy
Hmm.
mentally, I think that can
Hmm.
look very different,
Hmm.
you know?
But even with me, when I'm kind of in the midst of it, I sit in it and I get frustrated with myself if I sit in it too long.
Yes.
Because there was years I spent wallowing, in stuff, and it didn't change anything. So it's moving out of that. Sitting in pain is okay.
Yeah.
And pain gives you meaning. It really does. It really opens up a
Yeah.
doorway.
Yeah.
But I think sitting in it too long is not good either.
No, there's a
Yeah.
fine line between grief and depression, right?
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
it's like I've told you before too, like, "Kelly, watch me. Watch
Hmm.
me. If I sit in this too long, it's not a good thing," right?
Hmm.
And so far, so good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
far, you're like, "No, no, it's okay. It's still normal. Be gentle with yourself." Because, like you said, you wanna
Hmm.
speed it up. You want the
Yeah.
healing and the recovery to mean something, when you're doing the right things and you're taking all the right steps and you have that support around you, but you're still not feeling it, right?
Hmm.
It's still there at such a like, at a core level, and you don't understand the depth of something until the healing has really kind of taken place, right? A
Hmm.
majority of the
Yeah.
healing over something. It creates this whole depth and meaning, and you behave differently after that, you know?
Hmm. Well,
It's there's
yeah.
a larger meaning. There's a reason everything's happening. Nothing happens for no reason, right? And
No.
everything happens as it should. right? But
Yeah,
you
and
need to do the
sometimes you
work.
don't know it. You don't know it, and you're
No.
looking for those instant signs or that instant gratification to be like, okay, I'm in recovery. My life should be wonderful. Well, no, you've
Yeah,
decided to get into recovery. And
that's
that
right.
that is not just a okay, well, I'm gonna spend 2 weeks on that and three, it's not a crash course.
No, no, no. And when
Yeah.
it comes to, like, back to drugs, for example, too, there's the getting sober, and
Hmm.
then there's the recovery and healing. Two very different things, right? Or even removing yourself from somebody's life, or removing them from their
Yep.
life, whatever that looks like. There's the grief,
Yep.
and then there's the recovery and the healing from that, right?
Yep.
That takes
Uh,
time. The good old
yeah.
time, right? That this whole, like, time will make it better, and you just need time. Time gives you perspective, and it's like, yeah, fuck
Mhm.
you, time. Like, they're just like,
It's like F you time, but it's like
yeah,
I love you time because I want more time. It's
yeah,
such an Achilles heel, I find.
yeah, yeah.
It can either and maybe it's just learning to work with the time that you have.
You have to, because there's
Hmm.
no way to speed it up.
Nope.
There isn't. There's no way. There's nothing that's gonna give you an answer that's, actually, I made a post about this the other day where, like, if I had a genie,
Hmm.
"Genie, when am I gonna feel better?"
Right.
2 months, 60 days, switch.
Hmm.
Ow, that hurt. And,
Oh.
my finger, my sprained finger. Um,
Mm.
give me a timeline, somebody tell me something, and everyone just tells you time, 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 and it's frustrating. It's so
Yeah.
frustrating, that damn time.
Well, and there's certain times, right? Like even in recovery, like it's the first 30 days or 28 days, to get you through that. And so the first step of it, I think even in all recovery, whether it be physical illness, mental sobriety, that 30 days is pretty much just preparing you.
Yeah, for the work ahead. For the work ahead.
It's like you got to remove all this kind of crap out of your life and create a safe space so
Yeah,
you can move into recovery.
yeah.
Um, and that's why I mean, I personally feel that 30 days in recovery is way too short. But anyway, it
Yeah,
it
depending on the healing you're doing, depending on the
yeah,
recovery, right? Yeah, there's
yeah,
there's times where 30 days can make an enormous difference with
yeah, sure.
something, and provide clarity, but then there's times too where, yeah, it's not enough time.
No, yeah, well, they say
Then
um
they again,
it takes 30 days to break a habit.
and they say it takes 21 to create a habit. So
Oh gosh.
there's all these numbers, like these magic numbers, but nobody can give you a timeline on healing. Nobody can. 21 days
No.
this, 30 days that, and
Hmm.
and I think that's where I struggle too. Is, like, I have faith that everything is happening for a reason, and I have faith that everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to.
Hmm.
My belief system, my God, my source, my spirit, and my belief in that is very strong. It's
Hmm.
very strong, unbreakable, and
Hmm.
it's something that I live my life by. But when you're in the thick of something, you're mad. You get mad. Anger comes into
Hmm.
play, right? And you're not always, like you said, you're not always so gentle with yourself.
No,
You know? No.
no, no, and no.
Like, I
That
wonder, like, I often wonder how other people see that too. Like, I don't know, like, you guys, are you gentle with yourselves when you're going through something? You know? I,
No,
yeah,
I wasn't for a very, very long time because I
yeah,
was living by everybody else's expectations of me.
yeah, that makes sense.
It
That makes
was,
sense.
and so I didn't know what I was expected of myself
Well, you have
because
to,
I was living
there's the
by everybody
comparison,
else.
but there's
Hmm.
comparison too, right? You kinda get trapped in this cycle of comparison when really
Hmm.
the only person you should be comparing yourself to is you yesterday,
Yeah, that's it.
right? Is you yesterday.
Hmm.
And, uh, I guess I'm better than I was yesterday. You know,
Yeah, I
you'd
would
like
have
to,
to say so.
right? I'm not on the floor today. I'm not begging for death today. Like, so, better than yesterday, and tomorrow better than today, right?
Mhm.
So, um, it's hard though. It's hard.
And it has to be hard.
It does, otherwise we
I
don't learn.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm stubborn as hell, so I always
Yeah,
take
me
the
too.
long way and the
Yeah,
hard way, and maybe it's easier for people. But to make an impact, I think it has to be hard.
yeah.
The hardest things in life, I think, are always kind of the best,
Well,
really,
it's,
at the end of the day.
going to the gym's better than eating the cake,
Yes.
right?
Well, for some, I would tend to eat the
I'll
cake.
take the cake, yeah.
Just say.
Right? I have an addiction to chocolate too, so I'm one to talk, but
Mine's kind of going away, but there's sometimes, oh, damn, that chocolate bar is just calling me.
I eat a chocolate bar every single day, and I'm not ex
Well,
you know this about me. I'm not
mhm,
exaggerating, listeners, viewers. A chocolate bar every single day. If
mhm,
I don't have, it's like crack for me.
yeah,
It is. I reward myself with crack every day after dinner.
yeah, it's chocolate.
It is.
Yeah.
It's vicious. Sugar cravings are vicious, and
Hmm.
I've done elimination diets where cutting the sugar
Hmm.
was the hardest part. Like, I've done the
Sure.
carnivore diet, for example. You know,
Hmm.
cutting everything out was not the hard part. It
Right.
was it was the sugar. But your body gets used to it and you adjust. Just like
Well,
with
you
anything else.
recover. You
That's it.
recover.
That's it. You do. You do.
Yeah.
So, and I did a 30-day, it's called the Whole 30. I did that
Hmm.
too, where you eliminate a lot of things, and that kind of led me to the paleo lifestyle, but which I've really veered off of that path, but I'll get back there. And
Hmm.
and that's the thing, like, and with healing and recovery too, sometimes it's two steps forward, one step back.
Right. Yeah.
It's not always linear either.
Hmm.
It can be all
Yeah.
over, all over.
And I would like for our listeners actually to just you don't have to write it, you don't have to journal or anything like that, but there's a couple of things like what part of your life is calling for recovery right now?
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt to take a gander.
No,
Um, what can you release that no longer serves you? Um,
that's a tough
and
one, right? Because
mhm,
things you learn to resort to unhealthy behavior, right?
mhm,
And it's that habit is hard to break too. And
mm,
just the awareness of that is the first step, but then there's what do you do with that awareness, right?
yeah,
What do you need to let go of? What's that unhealthy behavior that's hurting you essentially, right?
yeah. But awareness is part of recovery. So even being
Yep.
aware of, wow, I would really like to change that at some point, is taking ownership that's not there needs to be change.
Yep.
So even if you're not willing to do it that minute tomorrow, you know, meeting with yourself once in a while and having a little bit of a board meeting with yourself and being like,
Right?
okay, I said I would do this like 3 months ago. What are the barriers?
Yeah.
Because there could be barriers in recovery.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I,
Big
I
time.
think taking a look at really what no longer serves you, and sometimes that can be really painful
Oh,
because
oh, yeah.
there's things that you love, like food, partners, a job, a home, but
That's
it's
it.
just being really digging deep and being like, this is not good for me. I need
Yeah.
to release this.
Yeah, it's
And
letting
then,
go.
yeah, and just maybe every day, just say, okay, how can I stabilize myself?
Right? Right? And
Even,
you
yeah, like even if it's just, clearing out the front closet or something. It could be
right?
very simple, like how do I stabilize? Or maybe I'll only have one cup of coffee instead of four. Um,
Right?
like,
You're not talking about yourself at all.
no, not at all. But I
Yeah.
know myself. I'm sorry. I'm like, no, if I do that second cup,
Well, there's
uh,
consequences, right?
yes,
There's
yeah,
consequences, but there's people to hold you accountable too. Like there's times where Kelly, don't have another cup of coffee. You're not sleeping tonight, babe.
I'll be
You
flying.
know, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
But it's like even with telling yourself you're going to do something, um,
Hmm.
there's you can have an accountability partner, quote unquote. Like you and I
Which is
hold each
great.
other
Yeah.
accountable all the time, right? You said you
And
had
don't
it.
take it personal.
No, no, because sometimes we need that check. You need someone to
We do.
check you, and but people don't like that either. Even if somebody tells you like, okay, don't let me do this, and then
Hmm.
you don't let them do it, they'll still get mad.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah,
"Hey, dude, you told me. My job was
yeah,
to not let you do it. So
yeah.
my hands
Hmm.
clean. I did my job, right?"
Well, and I think there's other people too. Like there's our kids that I mean, my kids certainly keep me accountable. Don't know about
Oh,
you,
yeah.
but
You said you'd make chicken nuggets and you made salad,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Or even it's funny. I was going through my journals. I don't journal as much as I should, and I probably should start again. But I've read through my journals. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like I was talking about that like 2 years ago.
Right? And
Come
I haven't
on.
done it. Or
Yeah,
yeah, right?
like come on, let's move forward. So I think again with our podcast, our last podcast, hopefully our podcast will be able to blend in and make sense
Yeah,
um for everybody
yeah.
and stuff like that. But again, oh, beautiful conversation today.
As always. As
Yeah. Yeah,
always.
I feel good about this one.
I do too. This one was all right.
Yeah.
I divulged a little bit about myself, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think as time goes on, we'll get a little more personal with our listeners and viewers, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's important. I think that people need to see that we're not just here to talk about surface shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would
Mm-hmm.
like to get down into the trenches of hell with people about this, and know that, I'm able to support somebody through it. Like, when you guys write an email or make comments, like, it's so
Mm-hmm.
appreciated because we too realize we're not the only ones, like,
Mm-hmm.
I've had people reach out to me lately and be like, "This is what I'm going through." I'm like, "Fuck,
Mm-hmm.
dude, like, I've been there. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
through the same thing," or, like, "This is
Mm-hmm.
what I did. I'm here." There's no judgment, go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and do that even if it's not good for you. You'll do it 10 times. Maybe the 11th time you won't do it again,
Mm-hmm.
and,
Mm-hmm.
it takes again, there's that time, right?
Time.
Time.
Yeah, I don't know where this podcast is going to take me. I don't know what I'm going to divulge, but
Right, right.
it hopefully it will get me to a newer me, whatever
Yeah,
that looks like. I'm not
right,
quite sure.
right, exactly. So,
Yeah.
I think with that being said too, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. It
Mm-hmm.
means so much to us. Like, we're doing this for fun. This is just for us and it's therapeutic and
Mm-hmm.
cathartic. But I think knowing too that we're not alone on this
Mm-hmm.
either. Maybe there's
Yeah.
others who want to start a podcast and they just have these silly ideas too that they want to share with people. And you know, anyway, we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna we're gonna do part two of
Of recovery.
recovery and healing as well, because there's just a lot to talk about, and we're going to touch on um, other types of recovery and healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Not
part
as
deux,
general.
part deux, and that's the extent of my French right there.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Part deux,
All
and
right, everybody have a great afternoon and thank you for
yeah,
tuning in. Much
thanks
appreciated.
guys.
Thank
Peace
you
out.
for your time.
Yep.
Okay. Bye.
Ooh.